Hi everyone, today I just wanted to do a quick video to share the differences and progress that I've made from over the last couple of years. I started off this channel back in 2023 where I had about $30,000 of consumer debt that I was trying to pay off, and it's now 2 years later. A lot has changed, and I just wanted to do kind of like a 2-year comparison to see how much progress I actually was able to make from 2024 January until 2026 January this month, just for fun and just to kind of see how much progress we've made. So also, big news for this month is I'm finally down to $0 credit card balance. And my biggest goal going into February is maintaining my credit cards at $0 for at least all of February, but ideally, obviously, going forward to the future from now and just contributing that money into my savings account instead of additional money going to debt payoff. So I'm super, super excited for that. And I just wanted to do a quick little look back and see how things have gone since 2024 until now. So back in 2024, this whole column is 2024, this whole column is 2026, and this is the change. So back in 2024, my income alone, not counting my husband's income because that's a bit separate, but just counting my income, I used to make around $6,100 every month. And now I make around $6,800 every month. So I've just gotten small little raises every year, but I guess they add up. So my actual monthly income has gone up by around $670 every month, which is really cool. And I didn't even really realize that was happening until I compared it. And I was like, wow, I'm actually bringing in a lot more every paycheck compared to 2024. So that's really cool. One of the biggest changes between then and now is we used to rent an apartment and now we own a home. The cost on this is a lot higher to own. First of all, last year we were only paying about $3,500 for a mortgage. This year it went up quite a bit. Our property taxes increased, and because of that, and I think because we switched over our home insurance, we are behind on our escrow. So to make up that money, currently our total monthly cost for a mortgage is $4,000 every single month. That's for the mortgage with the property taxes, home insurance, and the mortgage also obviously includes paying down the balance as well as the interest. So huge jump up from renting, where our total cost for renting was around $2,400 a month, $2,500 a month. And now we're at, for a 3-bedroom apartment, and now we're at $4,000 a month for a 4-bedroom home that we own. So huge increase to the monthly expenses there. An initial $1,630. I think after we catch back up with paying back down the escrow, it should go down to around $3,700 a month, which is still a huge increase comparing versus renting. But we're slowly building equity, and I just hate that all of the interest for a mortgage is front loaded. So those first year or two of payments, you're not making any progress at all on the balance. But yeah, so that is a big change. But then let's move on to some good stuff. So for debts, in 2024, I was still paying off our first car. So we had a balance of $2,000 left on that car loan, and now we are at $0. That's completely paid off. So we saved $2,000 of debt there. The second car loan back in 2024 was at $17,000. I think the initial balance was like 25. We had it down to 17. Now we have it down to $9,900. So that is a reduction of $7,705. In the future, one mistake I made here that I would not recommend is choosing a car loan term that stretched out over 5 years, I think. which is really stupid. I didn't even know that was stupid until maybe last year when I learned more about personal finance. But obviously, you want to save a lot of money. The interest rate on the loan is very low, but because it's stretched out over so much time, it's just not worth it. Like, we probably could have paid this off a lot faster. And right now I'm contributing more than the minimum payments to this to just try to knock it out, but it's still lingering there. And then for my credit card in 2024, I had a credit card balance of $11,403. And as of the end of January, I was down to $148 on that, which I probably should have just paid it down to zero. I think those are like recent charges after the balance window had already closed, and I did pay it off to zero, and then it went back up because I had made a couple extra purchases at the very end of the month. So I need to figure out how to track zero, and if I'm still figuring out if I'm gonna like continue to use my credit card for daily purchases and pay it off in a lump sum. And if I do that, I'm probably going to switch the credit card I am using for that, or if I'm just going to switch over to using debit cards exclusively. But because I've been used to the cycle of, racking up a charge and paying it off in a lump, that's going to be a big change for me. So that is currently basically at $0. We've paid off $11,254 of interest. Of that balance is down now. So credit card is gone for the most part. I still am using it for daily expenses and paying it off in a lump sum. So that's something to consider. Should I just keep a revolving balance at zero every month, or should I just stop using credit cards altogether? Very, very interesting to think about. So that means for all of my debt in total, I went from a total debt balance of $31,128 in 2024. And at the end of 2026, I am down to $10,053, which is a reduction of $21,000 over 2 years. Plus, we bought a house in that time frame. So I'm not including my mortgage here on the debts, but I will go into that at the bottom. But yes, huge progress. I'm not 100% debt free. Obviously, I have the mortgage. I still have paying down this car, and then we'll see if I can stick to $0 credit card balance, or if I will eventually wind up racking it back up. My huge goal this year, and a big reason why I want to start making videos again, is to stay motivated at keeping my credit cards completely paid off, like forever from now on, and just putting money into sinking funds instead to cover those big expenses throughout the year. So we'll see how that goes. Stay tuned, subscribe. Okay, so for savings then, there was definitely some money moving around because obviously we bought the house last year. It's been about a year since we owned our house now. For cash savings, this is just short-term expenses. It started off in 2024 at $1,777. Since then, it's been through ups and downs, but at the end of January, I was able to fund it back up to $1,500. My goal is to kind of keep a floating balance of around $3,000 to $6,000 in the cash savings. That will go to cover big holiday expenses, vacations, or emergencies. So that is where we're at there. So basically no change at all. For my high yield savings account in January 2024, I had $34,000 in this account. And then we used about half of that, a little over half, for the down payment and closing costs on our house. So that is now at a balance of $16,191. So down $18,000. We were able to put a very small amount down on the house through VA loan. So that was kind of good in terms of saving us cash out of pocket, but bad because we don't have very much equity in the home. But that is done. We have our house now. So now for this fund, I am building it back up again, and it's going to have two purposes. One is a true emergency fund. So if I was to lose my job, this would ideally have around 6 months of living expenses saved in it. So I'd basically be aiming for around like $50 or $60,000 to be in this account, just for an eventuality, like I lost my job or my husband lost his job or we were in a bad spot for a while. And then a second purpose this could serve is for potentially refinancing our mortgage once the rates drop. We did get our house at a slightly high interest rate at 6.125 back when rates were up a bit. But as kind of the flip side of that is, even though the mortgage rates were high, we were able to negotiate a lot with the seller because it was definitely like a buyer's market. And we were able to save a lot of money on closing costs and down payment and all that stuff. So the seller covered all of the closing costs and we only had to pay just a few final fees. And that was, yeah, like $15,000, $20,000 worth of fees. That's it. And we were in our house. So I do want to refinance once the rates drop. And then that does cost money. So this could also be eventually used for that. I do have a single stock that's left over from an old job that I've been thinking about possibly selling and diversifying it into other things. But in 2024, that was worth around $21,806. And then as of January 2026, that's now worth $33,460. So that went up $11,000 over the course of the last 2 years. For this money, I am thinking of it as partially an emergency fund. So if you add our high yield savings in this, technically we do have 6 months of living expenses saved. This could also be for retirement. It could also be for covering like kids' college and weddings. So this is just kind of like a long-term slush fund. Like if we do wind up needing it, great, we have it. If we don't wind up needing it, then it can go into really fun life event things like helping the kids with their weddings or helping them with college or buying their first car, things like that. So that is my intention with the stock. For the kids 529s, I had just started those in 2023, I think, and I've been just contributing very small amounts. That started off at $800 altogether. And then now in 2026, that is at a balance of $3,342 altogether. One big change I recently did here was moving this from a 529. Well, I haven't completely finished this yet, but I initially started it at a 529 that did not involve interest. It was just you buy college credits at a flat rate. And it wasn't like a traditional investment account with interest. And then now I'm moving it I just started a traditional investment account 529 that has interest, and then it's also tax deductible. So I'm super excited about that. So I'm planning to move over all their old money to the new accounts and then start contributing to that from now on. And hopefully that compound interest will help start building up here. But I still haven't transferred the whole balance from the old one yet. But regardless, even just saving a little bit here, a little bit there, at a flat rate with no interest, I was able to save $2,542 into the 529s over the last 2 years. For 401ks, okay, this was the craziest change. So for my 401k, I have just I think I contribute like 10% per paycheck. I do want to keep it pretty high because I'm the main breadwinner and I'm definitely going to be like the main person locking it down for retirement in our family, between my husband and I. And the compound interest on this is just crazy to me. So in 2 years, I went from a 401k balance of $80,000 to a 401k balance of $150,000. So that's basically almost doubling my retirement savings, just doing regular contributions every paycheck. But now that I'm like over this threshold, the compound interest is really like kicking in. And obviously it can go up and down depending on how the economy is doing. But regardless, 2 years, that went up $70,000, which is just insane to me. Like that's huge, huge growth. Basically doubling my savings for retirement. So that was like just blew my mind. So yeah, saving for retirement, it pays off, guys. It pays off. I only have like a traditional 401k. I don't have a Roth IRA, so I am considering potentially in the future moving to just like take my company match on my traditional 401k and start a Roth so I can save money on taxes later on. But for now, I will take it. That's freaking awesome. I'm just going to keep doing that. Just not even thinking about it. For health savings, so I am on a healthcare plan where it comes with an HSA card. I may have had it back in 2024, but I just didn't write down the balance because it was so small. But in 2026, that's now at $1,700, almost $1,800 on that card. So that can cover potential, and this rolls over every year. So it's not like you spend it or lose it. You get to keep it. It rolls over. So I want to add to this balance for potentially covering the cost of braces for the kids, obviously for any emergencies. I think there is a way to get them to invest this money for you so you can start earning interest on that money as well. So I may look into that this year, but I don't know all the implications there. I think it might add to your taxes or something like that. I'm not 100% sure on that. So if anyone knows, please let me know in the comments. But anyways, we're at $1,700 there, which is great. That will cover, a urgent care, emergency room type of visit if we had to do that. For my Robinhood account, again, I started this. I don't remember when I started it. It was definitely somewhere around the 2024 timeframe. And I've just added this is like my fun money account. I have barely contributed to it, but it's currently at $700. And it's really just for fun. It's like if I have an extra $5 and I see some news articles like you should invest in this company, I might just randomly buy a couple shares or whatever on Robinhood for that. But really not intentional at all. Maybe I should get more intentional about it, but maybe this could be my Roth, for instance, because they do have Roth accounts, I think, or not even Roth, but like just a traditional like investment mutual fund type account. I've heard a lot of good things about those, and that could also just contribute to our overall savings and stability. But anyway, so overall for savings in 2024, I had $139,000 of savings. And in 2026, that went up to $207,000 of savings. So even though we bought a house, we're still way up at $68,557. Although obviously, if we took out the 401k, which is a long-term retirement investment, it wouldn't really have gone up that much because we did cash out quite a bit of our cash savings to buy the house. But still really, really happy with that. And then last fall, just our house here at the bottom. Currently, per real estate websites, it says it's worth around $511,000. And then we owe on the mortgage around $489,000. So we do have $22,000 of equity, but that's not even enough to cover selling expenses yet. So very frustrating to watch the balance slowly go down, because every month, even though we're paying $4,000 a month, the actual principal balance is only going down by like $500 every month, which is just sad. But if we hold on to the house for 5-10 years, it'll be worth it. So obviously it's better than renting in that you do get your money back whenever you do sell it, most of the time, unless the value went really downhill or the house was in terrible condition. But so far so good, knock on wood that it stays that way. So just super, super exciting to see this progress for me, and hopefully motivating for those of you who are on your debt payoff journeys and every month feels like you're barely moving the needle. Little changes do add up over the long term, and even contributing a little bit to your retirement. We're paying off a little bit of debt every month. Some months it felt like I made no progress, but it really, really does add up over time and stack up. So I am really hoping to keep my credit cards at zero. That's my big goal this year. And instead put that money in my cash savings to use as sinking funds. So if you want to check in and hold me accountable, please come back next month or whenever I post another update. But yeah, thanks so much for watching and have a great day. Bye.